Have you ever looked at your body one day and thought, wait, when did this change? Because for many men over 50, the moment doesn't arrive with pain or illness. It arrives quietly. Ejaculation feels weaker, delayed, sometimes missing altogether, and suddenly, a man who once felt powerful starts questioning himself in silence. Here's the truth most men are never told. Losing ejaculation after 50 is common, but it is not inevitable, and it is not a life sentence. Your body is not betraying you, it's sending you a message. As men age, three things change: fast blood flow, hormones, and the nervous system. Ejaculation is not just about desire, it's about circulation, signal strength, and energy. When blood flow slows due to poor cardiovascular health, ejaculation weakens. When testosterone drops, intensity drops with it. When stress overloads the nervous system, the body shifts from performance mode into survival mode. And let's talk about stress for a moment. Chronic stress shuts down sexual function the same way it shuts down digestion and sleep. Your body doesn't care about pleasure when it thinks it's under attack. Long work hours, financial pressure, lack of rest, emotional suppression, all of it stacks up. The body adapts by conserving energy, and ejaculation becomes one of the first things sacrificed. Now add silence to the problem. Many men don't talk about this. They avoid doctors, they avoid partners, they avoid mirrors, and that avoidance creates fear. Fear tightens the nervous system. Tightness reduces sensation. Reduced sensation increases anxiety. And suddenly, the problem feels permanent even when it isn't. Here's the empowering part. The body is incredibly responsive when you give it the right signals. Men who improve blood flow through daily movement, walking, light strength training, deep breathing, often notice changes within weeks. Not years, weeks. The pelvic muscles, often ignored, can be retrained. Hormones respond to sleep, nutrition, and resistance training far faster than most people realize. Even cutting back on alcohol and ultra-processed food can restore nerve sensitivity, and mindset matters more than you think. When you stop seeing ejaculation as a test of masculinity and start seeing it as a health signal, everything changes. Books like Outlive by Peter Attier remind us that longevity isn't about avoiding death. It's about maintaining function. Sexual function included. Fixing this fast doesn't mean magic pills. It means removing what's blocking your system and restoring what your body already knows how to do. Move your body daily. Sleep like it matters because it does. Eat to support blood flow, not inflammation. Train your core and pelvic muscles. Breathe deeply to calm the nervous system. And most importantly, stop carrying this alone. Because men over 50 are not losing ejaculation because they're old. They're losing it because no one taught them how to protect it. Your body is still capable. Your system is still adaptable. And the moment you decide to take control, really take control, you're not just fixing ejaculation. You're reclaiming vitality, confidence, and the belief that your best years don't have to be behind you. Ejaculation changes after 50 for a reason, and that reason is not weakness, failure, or the end of masculinity. It's biology doing exactly what biology does when it's ignored for too long. Most men are shocked when it happens because no one warned them. Society talks about hair loss, belly fat, and low energy, but it stays quiet about ejaculation, even though it's one of the clearest signals of male health. As you age, the systems responsible for ejaculation naturally slow down. Blood vessels become less elastic. Nerve signaling isn't as sharp as it once was. Testosterone gradually declines year by year. None of this is dramatic on its own. which is why it goes unnoticed until one day the experience feels weaker, delayed, or incomplete. That moment hits hard not because of the physical change, but because of what it represents. Many men interpret it as a loss of power, identity, or worth. But here's what matters: this shift is common, and common does not mean permanent. Ejaculation relies on coordination between the brain, hormones, nerves, muscles, and blood flow. If even one of those systems is underperforming, the result changes. After 50, lifestyle habits that didn't seem to matter in your 30 suddenly matter a lot. Sitting too much reduces pelvic circulation. Poor sleep disrupts hormone production. Chronic stress keeps the body locked in tension. Over time, the body adapts by conserving energy, and ejaculation becomes less intense or less reliable. This is not your body shutting down. It's your body prioritizing survival over pleasure, and that's an important distinction because survival mode can be reversed. When men understand that this change is a signal, not a verdict, they stop panicking and start responding. They realize they're not alone. Millions of men experience the same shift, even though very few talk about it. Once that shame is removed, action becomes possible, and when action begins, improvement often follows faster than expected. The first step is understanding that nothing broke. Your body simply adapted to years of signals it was given. Change the signals, and the response changes too. That's why men who address circulation, hormones, and nervous system health often see noticeable improvements. Not because they found a miracle, but because they finally listened to what their body had been asking for all along. Aging didn't steal your ejaculation. Neglect did, and neglect is something you can fix. What most men never realize is that ejaculation is not a single function. It's a chain reaction. And that chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Blood flow, hormones, the nervous system, and daily habits are all quietly working together behind the scenes. When one starts to slip, the result shows up where men notice it most. Let's start with blood flow, because nothing happens without it. Ejaculation depends on strong, unrestricted circulation to the pelvic region. Over time, arteries stiffen, especially when a man spends years sitting, eating inflammatory foods, smoking, or avoiding movement. The blood still arrives, but not with the same force. That reduced pressure means reduced sensation, weaker contractions, and less volume. This isn't a sexual issue first. It's a vascular issue showing up in a sexual way. Then there are hormones, particularly testosterone. Testosterone isn't just about desire. It fuels muscle tone, nerve sensitivity, and the intensity of physical response. After 50, levels decline naturally, but lifestyle accelerates that decline. Poor sleep alone can crush hormone production. Excess body fat converts testosterone into estrogen. Constant stress tells the body it's not safe to invest energy in reproduction. The result is a system running on low power mode. Now layer stress on top of that. Stress doesn't just live in your mind. It lives in your nervous system. When stress is chronic, the body stays stuck in fight or flight mode. That state is excellent for escaping danger, but terrible for sexual function. Ejaculation requires relaxation, rhythmic muscle coordination, and clear nerve signaling. Stress tightens muscles, numbs sensation, and disrupts timing. Many men don't lose ejaculation because their body can't perform. They lose it because their body won't relax. And lifestyle ties all of this together. Alcohol dulls nerve endings. Ultra-processed foods inflame blood vessels. Late nights disrupt hormones. Lack of strength training weakens pelvic and core muscles that play a direct role in ejaculation. These habits don't cause immediate failure, which is why they're ignored, but over years they quietly rewrite how the body functions. Here's the powerful truth most men have never heard: these systems respond quickly when treated properly. Blood vessels regain flexibility with daily movement. Hormones rebound when sleep and resistance training improve. The nervous system calms when breathing slows and stress is addressed. The body is not stubborn, it's adaptive. It simply reflects how it's been treated. Ejaculation doesn't disappear randomly. It fades when the body is overworked, undernourished, underrested, and overstressed. Fix those foundations, and you're not forcing performance, you're allowing it to return naturally. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about restoring function. And function comes back when the body feels supported instead of strained. What damages men even more than the physical change is what happens inside their mind when it begins. Fear, the shame, the silence. This is where the problem quietly grows roots. Most men were never taught how to talk about sexual health. From a young age, performance became identity. Strength meant silence. Control meant never admitting uncertainty. So, when ejaculation weakens or disappears, many men don't see it as a health issue. They see it as a personal failure. And that interpretation is devastating. Fear enters first. Fear of aging, fear of being judged, fear of disappointing a partner. Fear that this is just how it is now. That fear creates tension, and tension shuts down sexual response. The body tightens, breathing becomes shallow, sensation dulls. The very act of worrying about ejaculation makes it harder to happen. The mind becomes the obstacle. Then comes shame. Shame convinces a man he is alone, even when millions are experiencing the same thing. Shame whispers that talking about it would make him less of a man, so he avoids the conversation, he avoids doctors, he avoids intimacy, he avoids situations where failure might be exposed. Over time, avoidance trains the nervous system to associate intimacy with pressure instead of pleasure. And silence seals the cycle. When something isn't spoken, it grows in the dark. Silence turns a manageable issue into a looming threat. It feeds anxiety, and anxiety feeds dysfunction. The nervous system learns to stay guarded, even when the moment calls for openness and relaxation. Ejaculation requires release not just physically, but mentally. Silence blocks both. What most men don't realize is that the body listens to the mind constantly. When a man carries fear and shame into intimacy, his nervous system stays on alert, and an alert nervous system does not allow ejaculation. It's not broken, it's protecting him from perceived threat. The turning point happens when that silence is broken. When men hear that this experience is common, their shoulders drop. When they understand it's not a verdict but a signal, the pressure eases. When they realize that talking about it doesn't reduce masculinity but restores control, the nervous system begins to soften. Confidence doesn't return because the body suddenly changes. It returns because fear loses its grip. The moment a man replaces shame with understanding and silence with action, the body gets permission to respond again. Not because he forced it, but because he finally stopped fighting himself. Healing begins when the problem is no longer hidden. When men hear the word fix, they often imagine something extreme, complicated, or humiliating. But restoring ejaculation and confidence usually comes down to simple actions done consistently, signals that tell the body it is safe, supported, and strong again. The body doesn't need to be pushed. It needs to be reminded. Start with movement, because movement is medicine. Daily walking alone increases blood flow to the pelvis. improves vascular health, and wakes up nerve signaling. Add light strength training 2 or 3 times a week, and something powerful happens. Testosterone production is stimulated. Muscle tone improves, including the muscles involved in ejaculation. Men often underestimate how quickly the body responds to this. Within weeks, not years, sensation begins to return. Then there's sleep, often ignored, always underestimated. Deep sleep is where hormones are repaired and produced. Chronic late nights or broken sleep quietly drain testosterone and disrupt nerve communication. When sleep improves, energy improves. When energy improves, sexual response follows. This isn't motivational talk. It's physiology. Nutrition plays a quieter but equally important role. Foods that support blood flow. Whole foods, healthy fats, adequate protein, reduce inflammation, and improve circulation. When inflammation drops, blood vessels relax. When blood vessels relax, sensitivity increases. At the same time, reducing alcohol and ultra-processed foods removes substances that dull nerve endings and weaken response. Many men notice changes simply by removing what's harming them. Now let's talk about the nervous system, because ejaculation cannot happen in a rushed or guarded state. Slow breathing, especially deep nasal breathing, sends a powerful signal to the body that it's safe. Safety is the foundation of sexual function. When breathing slows, muscles relax. When muscles relax, coordination improves. When coordination improves, ejaculation becomes possible again. Pelvic and core awareness also matter more than most men realize. The muscles involved in ejaculation weaken when they're never engaged. Gentle pelvic exercises and core strengthening restore rhythm and control. This isn't about force. It's about reconnecting with muscles that have gone dormant. And finally, confidence grows from action, not reassurance. Each small habit tells the brain, I'm taking care of myself. That message changes posture. It changes presence. It reduces anxiety, and reduced anxiety allows the body to perform without pressure. Confidence returns not because everything is perfect, but because progress is happening. There is no single switch to flip, but when these habits are combined, movement, sleep, nutrition, nervous system regulation, and muscle awareness, the body often responds faster than men expect. Not because it was broken, but because it was waiting for leadership. Fixing this isn't about chasing performance. It's about restoring alignment between body and mind, and when that alignment returns, function follows naturally. The biggest mistake men make is waiting. Waiting until it gets worse. Waiting until confidence erodes. Waiting until distance grows in their relationships. Waiting until they finally accept something they never needed to accept in the first place. Time does not heal this on its own, action does. When a man decides to act, something shifts immediately, even before the body changes. The decision itself restores a sense of control. And control is powerful. It changes how a man carries himself, how he thinks, how he shows up in his life. That internal shift reduces anxiety, and reduced anxiety alone can improve sexual response. The body follows the lead of the mind faster than most men realize. Taking action now matters because the body responds best when decline is interrupted early. Blood vessels regain flexibility more easily. Hormones rebound more quickly. Nerves reconnect faster. The longer a man waits, the more the body adapts to dysfunction as the new normal. Acting now keeps adaptation working in your favor instead of against you. But this goes deeper than ejaculation. When men improve circulation, they don't just notice changes in the bedroom, they notice more energy during the day. Clearer thinking, better mood, stronger workouts, improved sleep. Sexual function is not an isolated system. It's a reflection of overall vitality. Fixing one often improves all the others. There's also something deeply important about self-respect here. When a man ignores his health, part of him learns that he doesn't matter. When he takes action, even small action, that message reverses. The body responds differently when it feels valued. Motivation increases. Consistency becomes easier. Progress compounds. Many men fear that acting means admitting something is wrong. In reality, acting means refusing to surrender. It means choosing leadership over avoidance, strength over silence, responsibility over resignation. And here's the truth few people say out loud. Some of the most confident, grounded, powerful men over 50 are the ones who faced this issue directly and used it as a turning point. Not an ending, a beginning. Ejaculation returning is not just about performance. It's about trust in your body again. Trust that effort still matters. Trust that growth doesn't stop at a certain age. When you act now, you're not trying to rewind time. You're choosing to move forward with intention, and that choice doesn't just restore function. It restores belief. Belief that your body is still capable. Belief that your health is still yours to influence. Belief that your strongest years can still include vitality, confidence, and presence. The body responds to leadership, and the moment you lead, it listens.